Today we're going to look at some of the additions and changes that have happened to the custom metadata panel in the past couple of months. We're taking a look at version 2.0.6, and if you haven't seen custom metadata in a while, this one is a great release. We'll also talk about some of the features from the 2.0.5 release that you may not have seen, and we think that those are equally important. And to find out about where some of these updates are, a great way to do that is to use the What's New panel. So if you haven't seen it in a while, you can go up here into the flyout menu and you can pull down What's New. So if you don't see 2.0.6, you might want to go and update custom metadata panel. If you install it by hand, then go ahead and fetch the new one from GitHub. Otherwise, you can use the extension manager, or you can use just extensions and do the update there in Creative Cloud. So let's go back to 2.0.5 because, I'm going the wrong way. Sorry about that. We'll go this direction. There we go. So 2.0.5, we introduced a thing called tables. And this is a way to correlate data from multiple properties into one view. And then it will ensure that each row in the table remains coordinated as you're viewing it. And we'll show you an example of that in a few moments. We also change the way that you edit the options. And so if you've been struggling with the JSON in the options for drop-down switches, tags, checkboxes, this is a great way to go because it just makes it so much easier to edit. And then also you can create a new tab from the built-in examples, where before you had to create a tab, name it, and then go into the examples, find the example that you wanted, and then add it. Now you can just do that in one shot by simply adding a new tab. So let's go and look at those things first. We'll move this out of the way because we'll come back to it. And you can see right now I have three panels in my custom metadata panel: the IPTC photo metadata all, I have the plus panel, and I also have our included pet shop example. And many people have said, you know what, pet shop is great, but what we really want to start with is one of these two. And so what we've done is we've incorporated a new preference. We'll go to preference that says reset settings. And this is a 2.0.6 feature. And what this will allow you to do, if you click it, it will wipe out your existing settings and then replace them with the new starting set. So let's do that so you can see what the new starting set is. And yes, I'm going to confirm that I want to do this. And notice it won't remove any presets. And the other thing is that the settings that you have today aren't lost. They're just in the settings folder. So we've backed everything up, and oh, look, it's back to the way it was, as expected, because I started that way. But the neat thing is that now I can go up here under the flyout menu, and there's a new option called Reveal Settings in Settings folder. So if I tap on that, this is now my settings folder. And maybe we can reduce the size of some of these things. Going the wrong way. There we go. Or maybe even list it. Let's see if I can go to list mode. Nah. Well, we're going to leave it alone. Anyway, these are the files that are sitting in my settings, and these get backed up. So these guys are backups of prior settings, and I can always go back and I can look at them at any time. So this is pretty cool that you have the opportunity to do that. You can always, of course, reveal it in the Finder if you like to look at it that way. And we'll bring it over here. And here's my settings folder. This is my current settings folder. These are all of my prior settings folders that I have accumulated in the course of testing. And if I wanted to go back to any one of those, all I have to do is just change the name of the settings file to Adobe Bridge CMP settings.json, and that will then restore that. So this is a great feature as well. So if you want to make some adjustments, you can always go back and you can change it. The other folder that's going to get created here are these user views, and we'll show you how those get used in just about now. All right, so we're back here. I want to create a new view, and I want to make one that's got tables in it because we wanted to talk about tables. If I go to the preferences and I say tab management, I can create a new tab, and you can see it says create a new tab and add example tab. This is the new one, and that's what I want to do. So I'll click add example tab. I can pick any of these that are still available as just a straight up JSON. You can go and grab that. But now what I can do is I can say, oh, I want the astronomy visualization metadata as a tab. I don't want to have to go and do multiple things. So just bang, hit it. It has now copied stuff into right places. It's made the association, and all I have to do is hit save. And this new panel, this new tab is going to be available to me. So I'm going to say save, and then I'll close it up. And boom, when I hit done, it's going to load up that new tab in its entirety. Now, I am going to enable my system contextual menus. Strongly encourage folks to do that, just because then you can right-click onto text inside of the form, and you can copy and paste and do things like that. So we'll say done. And now I don't have anything selected, so we'll go over here to this NASA folder, and then, oh, I guess I didn't save, so we'll go try that again. Tab management. We will add our tab, one from AVM, and then we have to save it. Now it is saved, and now it should work just fine. So then if I hit done, then I should see it if I select a picture, and there it is, AVM. So we'll go over to AVM, and you can see here's a new weird thing here, and this is a table. If I pick another asset, so in this case this TIFF file has a whole bunch of content in there. What I'm going to do is make it wider so we can start to see some of the data that's in here. We'll shrink this one too, if it will allow me to shrink it. There we go. And then we'll shrink that guy. Great. So now we're seeing lots and lots of this table. And in this case, this particular set of data includes data that's coming from telescopes, and the telescopes are taking pictures on different instruments, and they get assembled together in different channels to create these pictures. And so if we make this a little bit bigger, okay, so there's the picture. That picture is actually created from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 channels. Each of these channels represents some light, and the light is, again, combined somehow to create these images, which is pretty cool. This data, the data is stored in multiple XMP properties that are arrays, and it's really important that the array, that the first element in the array is correlated with the entirety of the measurement going all the way across. Some folks would have done this using a structure, but when this standard was developed years and years ago, the folks who developed it didn't understand or didn't know about, and this is just because, is what it is, but they didn't know about structures, and so they developed their standard around individual properties that were arrays, and the end user having to know how to use it. So this is pretty neat. You can do some things with the table, like, all right, so we'll, just to make this work, you can see this. You can move the rows up and down. So we'll move this row down a few clicks, and you can see it adjusting. You can also move it up. All right. You can delete a row. All right, I just added a row, that's plus. And then, of course, you can delete a row at the same time. So this is great. And to configure, you would do that inside of the configurator. So we'll go and take a look at that now. Let's go to Preferences, and we'll see another great feature of 2.0.6. It's going to warn me, hey, you have an unsafe change. Do you want to keep that change, or do you want to discard that change? So this is something new. In the past, it would just take you in there and you would lose all your work. In this case, you can decide, I want to keep it or I want to discard it. I'm going to discard it at this point because I don't need that change in particular. If we go to the View Editor and look at the Astronomy Visualization Metadata field, this will open up. And if you scroll down, or actually in this case, it's right near the top, is this table. If you edit the table, you see a couple of new things. This is the table structure. Every one of these items is in the table, and they appear in order. So this is the leftmost, this is the second one, and so on all the way down. Some things that you can do with tables are, if you select an item, you can move it up and down. So move it essentially left to right in the table. you can also change its field type. And when you're in table mode, there are 3 field types that you can use. It has drop downs, numbers, and text. Those are the 3 things that you can do. And you get a little bit of visual feedback here as to which is which. So these are all text fields except for these guys, which are drop downs. So let's go and take a look at one of the drop downs, because under the options is where we see the new thing. And this is the new editor for the options panel. No more JSON. Wahoo! Many people are very happy about that. I'm scrolling up here so you can kind of see down at the bottom. There's examples. We can make this wider, make it fit in there better. So down at the bottom, here's some examples of how the drop-down will work. You can see that you can attach values in the value column. And then also, if you have your filter option source set, so for those of you who are using filter option source, now you can do that straight inside of here. You can pick a field and then set its value. Or if I pick one, then what that will do is it turn on the filter value. So you'd have to use this in the same way that you used filters before, where you have to put in the values that will trigger the filter. And these can be comma separated if you wanted to have multiple. So that's cool too. But we really think that this editor is just a great move forward. You also have the up and down, like let's move purple down a couple of clicks. I can do that, and then that will move purple down in the drop down. So this gives you a lot of solid options for adjusting drop downs and checkboxes and so on, and make it a lot easier to work with here. I'm going to cancel because I don't want to save it, and then we'll close that up. All right, so we didn't really make any changes, but that's just fine. We'll go back here. This is going to open. Let's create a new field. This is the other new field that we've added, which I think is pretty neat. And this is in 2.0.6. So we'll bring this back out again. And if we go back to 2.0.6, here we go. Calculation fields. Oh my God. We've already seen this one, the dialog to allow the user to save changes. We've already seen that one. We've already seen this one. The bug fixes, hopefully we won't see because we have fixed them, but this other thing is the calculation field. And this thing's really neat. So let's go take a look at the calculation field. We'll create a new one. We'll start with the pet shop example, and there's a lot of stuff in here just because of the way that thing works. But let's go and create a new calculation field in pet shop. And we'll go to our view editor. We're going to edit the pet shop example. All right, so what we can do is we can create a new calculation field, and what I want to do is to combine a couple of things. I want to combine the pet type and the breed into a single value. So I'm going to add new metadata. Oh, I need to unselect. All right, we'll add new metadata. This will go down near the bottom. And I want to make it a calculation field. So there's this new thing which is called calculation, which is right there. And we'll call it combined name. Its prefix is going to be pet, and it will autocomplete because I have pet before. And we'll call it combined name as the property name. Now, the advanced settings are where you determine what the calculation does. If you go over here, you can put in the formula. And the formula right now is going to process as a string. You can also make it to be do math, so it can do like plus and minus and so on to do that. So you have some choices here, and if you're doing math and you're using cosine, tangent, that kind of thing, you might want to choose degrees or radians depending on what your measurement is. But what I want to go with is a string at the moment. And in order to do strings, or really any calculation, you need to write the field that you want to inject in that format where you say your prefix with curly braces, whatever the prefix is, and then colon the name of the field. So if we cancel this for a moment, we'll go back. And we haven't added that yet. We want to make sure we have the right names. So we want to do type and breed. Those are the two that we want. and the prefix is pet. So it's pet colon type and then pet colon breed is what we're going to do. So we'll go back here. It's going to be calculation. There it is. And we said combined name and pet. All right. There we go. And the property name is combined name. Under advanced, we're going to now put in the calculation, and it's going to be curly brace, pet, colon, type. And then the other thing that we want is, we'll do name. We'll say name. So we'll say this, and we'll say pet, colon, name is a that. Okay? So this, the name, the calculation result will say whatever the name of the pet is a, and then whatever the type of the pet is, and it's going to save it as a string. So now we can see that work. It has been added. So we'll, oh, I have to do something special because I've added this now to a default field, and it doesn't, or default view, and it doesn't allow me to save changes, right? But I can copy and paste, and I can create a new one. So what I'm going to do is export this to JSON, and we'll just stick it here. So pet shop example new, or calc. All right. And then we'll close this up. I can't save it, but what I can do is add a new tab while I'm here. So or even better, I'll take this pet shop example, and I'll just change the view. So I'll delete that view, and I'll get a new one. So I'll click here to go and upload. I have my XMP panels right there, and this is the new one. So now I'm associating this new JSON that I just made with the same panel. So I'll save that. I'll save, and then now when I close it, it will open this up for me instead. So we've saved it. We'll close. We'll say done. It's going to reload, and now if I go to Pet Shop, you can see I've got all that. So if I go down to the bottom, it says, this is my calculation. It says missing values for pet name and pet type. Of course, because I haven't entered anything yet. So let's go and adjust this one more time. We're going to bring it closer. Oh yeah, I have an unsaved change because in the calculation it has done that, but there's nothing there. It hasn't calculated anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit this, and we'll go to the pet shop example. We're going to bring the calculation field all the way to the top. So we'll select that, and we'll bring it up so we can see closer to name and pet type. Okay, this way we can see the changes, and then we'll save it. Now we can save because it's not a default setting. All right, we'll close that up, and it's done. And then here we have now under the pet shop example, we have the name, so I have the type and the name and then the calculation. So let's pick a pet type. We can do this through this drop down. We'll say it's a dog. All right. It still says I'm missing a value for pet name, so it can't do the calculation yet until it has a name. So we'll give it a name, and we'll say Henry. And you can see Henry is a dog is starting to automatically populate. That's pretty cool. Now, this is a text field. The calculation, even though there's going to be, maybe in French we say, well, there's no French, Henri, right? Or Henry with an I. Okay, there might be additional values in the language alternatives. If it's a language alternative, it will always pick the default one. So that's what this one has done here. If I save this now, save my changes, then the calculated value of combined name is recorded, and that is in the XMP. That is what's recorded, not the calculation formula, but the result. If I change the pet type now to something else, to a cat, you'll see now it's recording as cat. It shows that it's changed, and I can then go and save the changes, and now it's a cat. The thing I can't do is type in here because a calculation field doesn't allow me to type in it, which makes sense because it's based on the calculation. If it were a number that I was working with, I could do a numeric calculation, and I could say add some numbers or multiply numbers. It understands parentheses and grouping and powers and all of that. So it's pretty powerful in terms of calculation. So we hope that you like these two new things, the the table as well as the calculation field, and we hope that you will use them to great effect in your metadata panels.